Hello, friends. Hello, hello, hello. Um, we are in draft mode. So what we're going to talk about today is the difference between the first draft of a novel and to the end draft. And we're going to see the differences in what edits that my editor made, or editors, because I'm going to go over two drafts actually, or two novels actually. So we'll see the different approaches that editors took to improving the novel, and you'll see like I'll just list through clear points. So yeah, let's get going. The first one we're going to start with is boys and girls screaming. So this is um this is the opening lines. Actually, we're gonna go through the opening maybe three or four paragraphs of boys. So this is the opening of Boys and Girls Screaming. This is my first published novel. This is the opening of it. I'm gonna read the first draft first. So this is like not the first draft, obviously, but this is one of the early drafts of Boys and Girls Screaming, and then what I have is the final draft, and I'll share that with you so we can go over it. But I'm hoping all of you could see this right now, which you should be able to see. I'm gonna read it over, and then let's go through it. We'll go through paragraph by paragraph. So it starts off. This is the early draft, right? This is the early draft. It's quiet tonight. I'm sitting cross-legged in the corner of my bedroom with just as much paint on my arms and legs as there is on the sheet in front of me. I hear the springs creak in the room every time mom changes positions on the couch. She's restless, and I already know what's coming, even as my mother tries to make sense of it on her own, in her own mind. There's just no use fighting it. Any pretending was over the minute she pushed me out of her womb. So I'm literally going to go paragraph by paragraph because I want you to see like the major differences that are happening here. Um, let's go to the actual final, and I'll show you um, what the major difference is just with the like literally the opening paragraph, right? And we're already going to start seeing differences in the opening paragraph alone. So this is the final. This is the opening paragraph for the final. It was quiet that night. I was only 5, sitting cross-legged in the corner of my bedroom with more paint on my arms and legs than there was on the paper in front of me. I could hear her pacing. Every step made its own creak, back and forth like a rusted seesaw. Now, the most immediate thing that you're going to see, I hope you caught that, was that I actually changed it from present tense to past tense. So if you go back to the original right here, uh, I'm speaking in present tense. It's quiet tonight. I'm sitting cross-legged in the corner of my bedroom, blah, 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 right? Like I'm speaking in present tense, so I'm speaking as if I am the child and I'm experiencing this in that moment. And the big change that we made in the final was that we said, you know what, like this, and we made this much earlier before the final, but we're like, this needs to be told in past tense. This needs to be an older person reflecting on what's happening in the past. And the interesting part about this is this book is actually told in two tenses because we get to a point where the story is in present tense, and then you're speaking or you're hearing from Candace herself. So first change that we see is just like a whole a more of a broad structural change, changing the tense. So that's change number one. Let's keep going. So we're going back to the the initial draft. So this is the early draft, right? So this is second paragraph. We're going to keep moving on. She remembers the same day as I do, or she remembers that day same as I do. You should have died. She tells me this at least once a day in those exact words, and I know just what her life would have been like if I had let the cord win and keep that umbilical cord wrapped tight around your neck. I can close my eyes and remember what it felt like to open my mouth gasping for air and not make a single sound. Maybe mom is right. I'm going to read one more paragraph so we can actually see a little bit more comparatively what the differences are. I close my eyes tighter and hear myself crying. I'm lying on my back with my tiny arms and legs fighting through the air. I see her face. She's standing over my crib, glaring down at me. My cries don't stop. She unfolds her arms and walks back to the living room, to the couch. The creak is a sound I'll never forget. This is actually like it's not bad. Like, and here's the beautiful thing that I appreciate the most about about edits is like it's not like you're taking necessarily taking something from bad to good. You're taking something from good to great. So you're taking what is already like you could already see potential, you could already see what I'm trying to accomplish or what a writer is trying to accomplish, and then you're taking that and you're transforming it or elevating it into something much more first of all much more readable, much more emotionally connective to the reader, much more clear as the as character development goes and as storylines goes and as plot goes. Like you're doing all of these things, but they're like nuanced. They're not like, oh, this is horrible writing, let's fix it. It's like, oh, you have something here, but here's how we're going to get it to the top level. So like I said, this is we're moving on. This is just the second paragraph, right? We're just getting into this is the beginning, and you know beginnings are important, which is why I'm starting with this. So we just read through that beginning. Now look at how it changed with the final, right? Let's go through how it changed with the final. Okay, so that's the first paragraph. I'm actually going to start with the whole beginning for the final, so you get the vibe. It was quiet that night. I was only five, sitting cross-legged in the corner of my bedroom with more paint on my arms and legs than there was on the paper in front of me. I could hear her pacing. Every step made its own creak, back and forth like a rusted seesaw. I don't know what took her so long. It's not like she ever wanted me. You shouldn't be here. It must have been three the first time she said those words to me. If I close my eyes tight enough, I can see the black moles dotting her face, hear the slow, deep crawl of her voice. I'm leaving, she said. You hear me? She was standing in the doorway of my bedroom, holding a gym bag in one hand and a suitcase in the other. I was still holding on to that paintbrush. Now we're doing some things here. We're doing some things here. The first thing I want you to recognize is we have now increased the tension. We have now increased the tension, right? Um, I did a lot of in the first draft. I did a lot of I did a lot of telling. If you can see it. So let me show you where I'm back to the initial draft now into the earlier draft. Like telling, I'll show you the parts where I'm telling. She's restless, and I already know what's coming, even as my mother tries to make sense of it in her own mind. Like when I say she's restless, I'm telling you she's restless, right? Um, Even when I say any pretending was over the minute she pushed me out of her womb, like that is not straight telling, but in the context of this paragraph, there are ways for me, or there were ways for me to go about trying to create the scene that I wanted and create the emotion from the scene that I wanted without being so direct. Because there are times you need to be direct with writing. It's not all you don't always need to be you don't always have to like show don't tell. Like that's just not how writing works. But in the context of this paragraph, I felt like that is a little bit too telly. Um, she remembers that day same as I do. You should have died. She tells me this at least once a day in those exact words. And I know just what her life would have been like if I had blah blah blah, right? And I'm going through it. Um, I can close my eyes and remember. I can close my eyes and remember what it felt like to open my mouth, gasping for air, and not make a single sound. Right. So you could tell that I have the words there. Like I have the thought process there of like how I want to communicate this scene and how I want to make this scene feel beautiful. Like it's all there right now, right? Um, the only thing is that I'm not expressing it in a way that I feel is gripping the reader in. I close my eyes. This is still the earlier draft. I close my eyes tighter and hear myself crying. And remember, this is in present tense, right? I'm lying on my back with my tiny arms and legs fighting through the air. I see her face. She's standing over my crib, glaring down at me. My cries don't stop. She unfolds her arms and walks back to the living room, to the couch. The creak is a sound I'll never forget. So in with all of that happening, right? In those first two paragraphs, I still I I'm not saying nothing is happening, but I don't feel like in these first few paragraphs I'm giving the full scope of of character building, like who these characters are, and creating tension to see what's going to happen next in the scene. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm already like giving a lot away. Now, when I take it back to this scene, so this is the new the final, right? When I take it back here, I want you to pay like very specific attention to the the tension that's being created, but also like think about all of the things that I'm describing that I start describing in this scene that give you a little bit more a little bit more insight into like the mother, but also like not just the scene, like what's happening around in the scene, but also like what's going to come next. Like look how I better set up like what's going to come next for the reader and for the reader to start imagining, oh my goodness, like this is wild what's happening, right? So I start off by saying, you shouldn't be here. Again, we're in the final. I must have been three the first time she said those words to me. If I close, and now we're back to past tense, right? If I close my eyes tight enough, I can see the black moles dotting her face, hear the slow, deep call of her voice. I'm describing my mother now, or my mother. I'm describing the mother now, right? I'm described. So you actually get a sense of what this person looks like. You get a sense of what they sound like. Um, right. So now I'm actually adding with as I'm going through the scene and moving through the scene as the characters are moving through the scene, I'm giving you like substance. I'm giving you visuals of what this character looks like in a way that is not like prescriptive, like her face is her she is brown, she is tall, blah blah blah. I'm not doing it like that. I'm doing it in the context of what the images are for this child that the child remembers, right? So I'm not even giving you like plain description. I'm telling you like the things that the child remembers, which gives you insight into what kind of person the child is, because what you remember is it defines it partially defines who you are, right? So I'm leaving, she said. Do you hear me? Uh, she was standing in the doorway of my bedroom, holding a gym bag in one hand and a suitcase in the other. I was still holding on to that paintbrush. There was paint all over my face, on my elbows, and all over my clothes. I looked up at her, but she didn't move any closer. The last sound I remember is the click of the front door lock. Now, the other thing that you have to remember that happens, that this again, this is just the first two paragraphs. I move along the story a lot faster. In the first draft, in the initial draft, um, she doesn't even get to the door. She doesn't get to leaving, right? The mother I'm talking about, she doesn't get to leaving. Um, I say you should have died. She tells me this at least once a day in those exact words, and I know just what her life would have been like if I had let the Lord win and keep that umbilical cord wrapped tight around my neck. I can close my eyes and remember what it felt like to open my mouth, gasping for air, and not make a single sound. Maybe mom is right. I close my eyes tighter and hear myself crying. Like we're the mother still has not moved yet, right? The mother still has not left, right? So I'm slowing the story down unnecessarily. When I need to get to the point, get to the friction. The friction is that this mother's about to leave her daughter, her 5-year-old daughter. She's about to leave her, walk out the door. But I'm not even there yet. I'm just in the initial draft. I'm it's like I'm a big believer in slowing stories down sometimes for real. But how do you? I think I talk about this a lot. Donna Tartt speaks about this. She said it's really about speed and density. How fast can you make your story go while still adding in the necessary information? So here in these initial drafts, I'm going too slowly. I'm going a little bit too slowly, right? I need to get to the main. I need to get to the tension. What is happening here, right? And still, I moved to the next paragraph. I'm still not there. I close my eyes tighter and hear myself crying. I'm lying on my back with my tiny arms and legs fighting through the air. I see her face. She's standing over my crib, glaring down at me. My cries don't stop. She unfolds her arms and walks back to the living room, to the couch. The creak is a sound I'll never forget. She still hasn't even left yet, right? And if you keep going down, you realize she still doesn't need it in the next paragraph, right? This has been our life for 5 years. I remember them all. And now this day, the creaking stopped and I hear her pacing back and forth. She's trying to fight it. Our apartment is small enough for me to know exactly where she is with each step. She's trying, but there's no use. I'm building up to this, to her leaving, but look how in the final that I give you all of that. You still feel all of that tension and all of that buildup, but in two paragraphs, right? Right? Like there was still paint all over my face, on my elbows, and all over my clothes. I looked up at her, um, but she didn't move any closer. The last sound I remember is the click of the front door lock. Days later, I was still in my room, still splashing paint and dust, dusting crumbs of dry cereal off sheets of paper covered in blotches of color. That was when I heard the front door. loud knocks, then banging. I held my breath and tried staying still. We've already moved now. We're already now we're days later. She's been and the assumption the reader makes, which is a true assumption, is this 5-year-old has been by herself for days. Like that happens in one paragraph, two paragraphs. We're not going to count these. The dialogue, right? Like this is 3 paragraphs, and you're already gripped. We're already in 3 paragraphs, and we're already in, right? That's that is the difference when you're going through the editing process. Like these are the things you need to think about that you don't even realize, and great editors will catch. Remember, you are taking your story from good to great, not from bad to good. That the you on your own need to take your story from bad to good as an author. When you're going through your own draft before you send it to an editor or your agent or whoever you send it to first, you need to take your story from bad to good. Your first drafts, whatever, they're not they're draft zeros essentially, right? They're just words on the page and ideas and thoughts. By the time you get it to share with your editor, it has to be good. You're sharing something good. What this is doing is taking it to something great. And again, openings are so important. You need to be able to grip readers right away. You have to be able to grip readers right away and earn the turn of the page, right? You need to be earning the turn of the page every single time. So yes, pace is important. Making sure you slow down to capture everything that you need to capture is super important. But so is speed. So is speed, right? I'm telling you, speed and density, like those are. If I ever took anything from Donna Tartt, that's what it would be. She has some classic novels, right? But speed and density. I'll give you one more example. So for everyone here that's paid, you should have received this already, actually. Um, if you everyone who signed up for paid has already received this, but I just want to talk about it really, really quickly. So this is And Then There Was Us. This is my second published novel, and I just want to go over the first 2 paragraphs with this one, maybe a little bit more, and show you the difference between the beginning and the ending. And again, what what we try to accomplish when we're moving through these things, right? Like what is the goal? What is the goal of an opening? And the goal of the opening is really, in my opinion, this is your opportunity to capture the audience and capture the reader. So let's start off with this one. This is an early version of And Then There Was Us, my second novel. Here we go. I'll read it really quickly. I haven't cried for 4 years. I don't know if that means anything except that my friends cry all the time. My dad tells me that crying is normal for teenagers, that we're supposed to be able to sit in a room with our best friends and share something so personal it brings us to tears. That's never going to be me. That was my response the first time he said that. I was 16 and it had only been 2 years since I'd cried back then. My dad was sitting on the arm of the couch and I was in the kitchen grabbing oranges from the fridge. The kitchen and living room blended together in our apartment, and when I turned around to answer, even though my dad was smiling, I could see concern in his eyes. Don't worry, Daddy, I'm not depressed. So those are the opening 2 paragraphs, right? And this is a very early draft of And Then There Was Us. But let's skip ahead. Let's skip ahead to the actual next draft. So this is not the final. So this is not the final, but this is a much later draft. And you'll start to immediately see the differences, right? So right away, big differences. The opening sentence. I completely changed it, right? Today is the day I've been expecting for 4 years, 7 months, and 24 days. There's a reason I changed that. I wanted to go straight. I want to the main conflict in this story is between Koi, the main character, and her mother. I wanted to find a way to go straight to that, get straight to the tension and explain to my reader or show to my reader, here, this is what you're in for, right? This is Koi's world with conflict with her mother, but this is what you're in for. This is what is going on in Koi's head from day one. This is how she feels, right? So today's the day I've been expecting for 4 years, 7 months, and 24 days. I put my hand over my heart to catch it from sinking and let the phone ring out while staring at the screen. There's no way I'm ready to hear my mom's voice. No way I'm ready to listen to what she has to say. And then, again, because this is not the final draft, I'm still thinking. I'm still thinking. So when I say, um, but she calls again, and I put that in paragraphs. Uh, this. If you read here over in the comments, is like this was still a question for me. I wasn't sure how I would handle Koi speaking to her mother for the first time, and maybe if Koi called her first. This is me thinking as I type. So I'm still not at the final, but I know for a fact I want to get straight to um, Koi's the what I want to start. What's the word? Um, uh Giving an indication essentially that this is exactly what this story is about. This is what is really on Koi's mind. And then second paragraph is my dad is moving stuff into stores today, so he's not here. It's just me sitting in my room with my headphones on, drawing on my iPad. My phone is on the floor beside me, still lit from the missed call. I'm waiting to see if there's any text notification, one of those long essay type messages that I'd have to scroll through to read her explanation for where she's been when I graduated middle school, or what she was doing when I got my driver's license, or why she wasn't there when I smoked weed for the first time, got my nose pierced and dyed my hair blonde, right? Like now, immediately, we're immediately into it. The first, the early draft, this, this is I'm almost starting with a flashback. So you're already, as a reader, you're already like out, right? I'm not saying you're turned off. I'm saying you're not even into the action, or you're not even going towards character, or you're not. You just. I'm starting off like, I haven't cried for 4 years. I don't know if that means anything, except my friends cry all the time. My dad tells me crying is normal for teenagers, that we're supposed to be able to sit in a room with our best friend and share something so personal. Trips it brings us to tears. That's never going to be me. That was my response the first time he said that. So I'm taking you back to the first time she's talking about crying. Now, what does crying, um, what does her crying or not crying have to do with the conflict with their mother? Indirectly, yes. Like it would have eventually come back around to that. But this was more about, in this early draft was more about Koi rather than instead of being about the conflict. And I wanted the initial paragraphs to be about, I'm already suggesting conflict. I'm already taking the readers through that. I didn't want it to just be just like very centered on some random uh, character trait of Koi, which is her not crying, right? And I had the opportunity to do that, so I changed it up and I did that, right? So that again, openings are so important. They're so important. So I just wanted to make sure that with this video, I showed you just a couple of ways that we can think about editing, think about craft, think about really opening lines and opening stanzas and opening how we think about openings, right? And for me, if we could get straight to, I often like to start in some kind of action and some kind of tension. So if you get straight to action and straight to tension, I like doing that personally. I feel like it's a great way to pull someone in. So if you look at the final of of Boys and Girls Screaming, right? Like it's immediate tension. It was quiet that night. I was only 5, sitting cross-legged in the corner of my bedroom with more paint on my arms and legs than there was on the paper in front of me. I could hear her pacing. Every step made its own creak back and forth like a rusted seesaw. So like, here's a child in the bedroom. Outside is this person, walking back and forth. What is happening? Immediate curiosity, immediate tension, right? I don't know what took her so long. It's not like she ever wanted me. Whoa, what do you mean? Who didn't want you? Your mother didn't want you? That person outside? They didn't want you, right? Immediate, immediate tensions, which I think is really important. So um, we'll cut it here. I wanted to keep this video under about 10 minutes, which failed clearly. But I hope this is helpful. I'll be doing this at least once a month, or I'll be doing craft stuff once a month, but maybe not these specific breakdowns. But I hope this is helpful. Send me some comments. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you got from this, and we'll keep it going.